Hi, I'm Lucy Bloom and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be chatting about how to make a ridiculous amount of basil for super duper cheap. I really hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, remember to subscribe. Alright, let's get going. Basil is a just so easy plant. It's easy peasy. It's easy to grow from seed, it's easy to care for, and it's easy to propagate. But this guy here you might recognise as something you've got from the supermarket and killed like 100 times. These are easy to kill. But the reason for that isn't because you're a bad plant parent, it's because they're kind of meant to die. This isn't one fully established basil, it's not one plant, it's about 15 to 20 wee seedlings, wee piddly things are crammed into this pot. That's because it's easier for growers to grow it this way, but it means that if you plant it out, if you give all your love and all the attention to this, it's still not going to have a chance of growing because it's too crammed together. There isn't anywhere for those wee roots to go. So you can see, and this is new by the way, this has already got loads and loads of little roots there. So it needs out its pot right away. So a good thing to do is just kind of take it out, release it, separate it, and pot it up into its own little pots, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So the first thing to do is to divide your basil. This breaks my heart sometimes because I hate ripping up those roots, but you just have to do it. And then from there, you're going to repot it into their own separate wee containers. The soil you're going to want to use is something that's quite well draining, just a nice compost mix, maybe with a wee bit of perlite. I've not used any today just because I've not got any handy, but perlite's really good and it adds to the drainage. So hold on 2 wee seconds. For dividing. And for potting up. Okay, it's going to be quite hard because it's quite root bound, but don't be afraid just to kind of tug at it a wee bit. He's okay. There he goes. Wowee. Yeah, so you can see there's hundreds of roots there. It's just totally root bound. That's not very good for it at all. It just means the roots can't get to enough resources. They're far too close together. Oh, I hate this bit. So you just want to kind of rip down the middle of the basil. Get it into 2 sections. And then go from there. Try and prioritise the stronger looking seedlings and give them a wee bit more roots than you would the ones that look a wee bit on the weaker side. There he is. So he's actually really good. Look at him. He's fantastic. There's so many roots in this wee pot. You're going to feel really cruel, but just go for it. So this one here is quite hard to separate. You can see they're all really sewn very thinly together, very thickly together. But just kind of Sophie's choice it. Just take out a couple of the weaker ones. Prioritise the stronger, bigger ones. This is heartbreaking. Then when you're ready, pop them in your containers. So these are just leftover ones, leftover pots I've had from things I've grown in my garden recently. So I'm just using those. I'm not going to pot up all of these. I'm going to leave a few of them and just make paper pots for them later, just outside the video, so I can get them all potted up. Hold on a second. So these guys here are now all potted up. I'm going to deal with those basils later on. We've just got a couple more steps with these. I'm going to take this big guy here. What you need to do is pinch out the tops. So what that means is essentially get the main stem and the first few leaves there, you kind of want to just zip them off. That'll kind of encourage the plant, instead of growing upwards and trying to be big and tall, to kind of grow outwards, nice and bushy, but it also focuses the attentions on the roots. And that's what we want to be establishing right now, the root system, because some of these I've popped in with a really large root system, and some of them haven't been so lucky, they've just got wee piddly ones. But I'm confident if I pay enough attention to them, they're going to survive. So what I'm going to do here is just pinch off. I'm going to take off the whole bit here. I could take off that, but let's go for the full one. So there. I've got some scissors somewhere. Clean scissors, just sterilised, isopropyl alcohol, whatever you've got handy. Just make sure there's no bleach on it. Could harm the plant. And you just go in. So cut here. And if I was to cut here, these guys here, you can see these guys are just going to push outwards. So I'll do it here. There. Don't throw these away, these are important, and I'll show you why in a wee bit. But yeah, so that guy there is now perfectly happy, and I'll do the rest for these guys later on, just pinch them out. When they're all pinched out and you're happy with that, you give them a good water to establish them. Keep them nice and moist right now, and then pop them in a nice sunny spot inside. So preferably beside a south-facing window would be the best place to put them, somewhere they can get some lovely, nice light. Don't put them outside right away, that'll just startle them. These guys right now have gone under some trauma, they're kind of traumatized plants, so you want to keep them in a nice environment for the first 10 to 15 days before pruning them for your lasagnas, before putting them outside and giving them any nasty shocks. So a nice sunny spot for a wee while is perfect. And then they might look a wee bit sad for a few days, a wee bit kind of under the weather, a wee bit poorly. Totally normal, they're in shock. They will perk up if you're paying attention to them. So make sure the soil is kind of nice and moist. It's not too moist because you don't want them to have any root issues, but don't let them dry out completely, nothing like that. And just take care of them. Towards the end of that 10 to 15 days when they're perking up a wee bit, it wouldn't be the worst thing to do to give them some nitrogen-rich fertiliser, just some liquid feed. Nothing too strong, but just something so we can encourage new growth and encourage those roots to grow down as well. And these guys will be perfectly fine. In terms of if you want to put them outside, you're going to want to harden them. So just kind of like harden them out a wee bit. That means on like a nice sunny day, during the day, maybe pop the seeds when they're nice and healthy out for a couple hours. Then the next day, maybe a few more hours. Just kind of do that until they're kind of getting used to the outside, because they need to get used to that temperature. When you're confident after about a week that they're not looking wilty, they're not looking more poorly for it, then off you go. You can have them outside again. So we've got a whole bunch of happy little seedlings here. They're all going to take off really nicely. They'll get big and bushy. They're fantastic. But if I want more basil, I can easily do it by propagation. I mentioned that earlier on in the video. Super duper easy. I'm going to take one of these wee seedlings here and show you how it's done. So what you're going to want to do is more or less cut below a growth point and then pop it in water. Easy as, and it should kind of establish roots in a few days. They usually don't take any time at all. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut right about there. So below where you see all that nice, lovely growth. So I'm going to do that now for you. So there he is there. This bit here though is going to go in the water, and there's not a real point in having it too lush and lovely when it goes in the water. It just kind of diverts the plant's energy from growing the roots to kind of maintaining those leaves. So what I'm going to do is just snap off these. I'm going to use this for a lasagna, by the way, waste not, want not. I'm going to pick that out later. So even these wee bits here, Just take them right off. We don't want the plant using any of its energy there. Perfect stuff. I mean, you could even take off some of these top leaves here. I can see there's some more wee guys coming in there. These big ones here as well. As long as it's got some nice growth at the top, you'll be totally fine. For now, I'm gonna leave it like this though. And I'm literally just gonna put it in water, just so it's supported like that. So don't tip over. So just like that, just pop it in some water and then change that water. The reason you change the water is so it's got enough oxygen in it. That's what these guys are eating up. They're eating up that oxygen in the water. If you change it, they've got far more to munch on and they're gonna grow a lot faster. So change the water as often as you remember. I try and do it once every 2 days-ish, and then you'll be totally fine. Just keep a watch on it to see when it's established a nice healthy root system. When you're confident that's an established root system, we've kind of seen what an established root system is by these guys here, then you put it in soil and you're good to go. When I'm propagating and putting something into soil, I like to keep the soil nice and wet, at least for a good week, maybe 2 weeks after putting it in soil, because it's a big change going into dry soil. Try and keep the consistency and keep that soil nice and wet. There you have it, how to make more basil than you can possibly eat. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I loved making it. Please leave a like or a comment down below, especially if you've got any good basil recipes, because I need it. Remember to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye!